Alright guys, TJP5121 here. We're going to do a subject that I'll be doing a lot. It's about paintball guns and paintball and the sport and the safety protection of the gun. That's all we're going to go over today. Um, I'm going to talk about the parts of the gun. Here you have the hopper where you store the gun. I can take it off for you. Here's the hopper. The hopper has a hole in the bottom so it can feed it through the gun. This is where you put your paintballs in. You can guys see down there. Alright. Next thing we're going to go over is the barrel. Barrel I could take off for you. Short barrels aren't really good for paintball guns. The longer the barrel, the better accuracy you'll get, but I have a short barrel because this is like my practice gun that I use a lot. Just like my backup gun, kind of. But there's the barrel. And then the last thing that makes the gun work is the CO2 tank. CO2 tank, it can be either nitrogen or CO2. I prefer CO2 because it's more powerful than nitrogen. So there's the CO2 tank. The next thing that makes the whole gun work is the gun. Now this is a beginner gun. As you can see, it's called a Vecker game face. You know, a lot of people have customized ones, but if you dry fire it a lot, it can ruin the O-rings. But since I put a new O-ring on, I'll dry fire it for you just to see how it sees. Okay, that's how it is. That's all. I put a new O-ring in it, so it really didn't damage it. But this is a nice beginner gun if it's your first time going out. But if you go to the paintball place, the one I went to is called Intense Paintball, and the guns were pretty crappy. I mean, this CO tank I wasn't allowed to use because the date expired on it. It was like, what, 7 years old. They didn't let me use it, but their tanks look more crappier, so, but at least it worked when I played. Alright, I'm gonna assemble the gun back together and show you the safeties about using a paintball gun, what you should wear when you're playing paintball, and how it hurts when you get hit with it. Alright, first thing, you got the hopper. Sometimes if you fall, if your hopper is wearing off or something, it might come off. Now, my hopper, this one's an old one, so I really don't know. Every time you go in to a paintball place and you get out of the room that you played paintball in, you're always going to need a barrel cover. A barrel cover simply, well, what do you think it does? Covers the barrel. Next thing you do is that you get the strap, pull it all the way back so the barrel cover stays on. See how it can barely move. Alright? Some places will let you use barrel plugs. It's kind of like a drain plug where it plugs it like that. It helps you so if you accidentally fire it, it won't hit someone. That's one of the #1 safety rules. Now, if you're low on CO2 and you take your CO2 tank off and it starts to blur out all the air, don't worry. It's just the air that was in the gun that's coming out. But if you do it really fast, you'll lose less air. So don't worry about that. Alright, some people have covers for their CO2 tank so it doesn't get any cracks. But so far, it's good. Some places, your gun has to have a certain amount of power. And in the back here, if you see this little thing that it can turn, it helps the power. Now, some people will go like 280 pounds of pressure. Some of them will go even 300 pounds of pressure. But the most you can get is 300 pounds of pressure. The one I went to, you're only allowed 250 pounds of pressure. Some ones for little kids, they only go like 100 pounds of pressure, and it can only shoot 20 feet. Next thing is that when you always go into a paintball place, I always put my safety on. Kind of like that you see on a regular gun, BB gun, or an airsoft gun. safety holds it. Put the safety and you can pull the trigger back. I'm not using my primary gun today because I didn't want to get it out, no scratches. So that's pretty much on the gun. Okay. I'm just gonna go over the barrel cover again and what you should wear. The barrel cover, I always have mine on, for dry firing and stuff, but that's out of the subject. One thing you need on your belt that you have is a barrel cleaner. Now, this is a pretty good barrel cleaner, the best probably out there. I'll show you how you can use it. What you do, and here's another thing, if you're out playing paintball and your gun won't shoot, don't automatically call yourself out. You could be the last one left, and I've had it where it was just me and my team, and I was kind of like bait for them. I would just distract them while my teammates were shooting at them. But this is how you use one of these. You put it through it, go it through, and at the end right here, how this thing kind of plugs it, it'll pull any excess paint that's in there, and it'll pull it out. See, as you see, my barrel's clean. Alright? So that's one thing you can use. I already got that away. What I like to use, and here's the thing that you have to have if you ever play paintball. You have to have a mask. Now, I usually keep my mask in a t-shirt to protect my lens. But it depends where you're playing. If you're playing an indoor place, always use a clear mask. It really helps you aim. If you're in an outdoor place and it's really sunny, use like an amber color or like a dark color, like a tinted color. But this mask, what I usually do is that I'll put the hat on. If you have glasses, they'll fit over them. But if you have glasses, usually the glasses will fit in them. But this is how you have to have it on. I usually put this over to protect my head because I did get shot in the head one time. It did hurt because I didn't have any protection on my head, so I used this and I got shot in the head again and it didn't feel as bad. Always need the helmet. Always need the helmet. This is optional. You can either use a beanie or sometimes you could just use a regular hat to not let all the sweat go to your head or your face. Another thing I use is gloves. These are my old football gloves because they're very grippy, so I can grip the gun. And you see how they have padding on them. You can't see it, but they have padding on them. And for me, I use a football Nike combat thing. It just protects your ribs and your shoulders. People go ahead and buy all this protective equipment, all the girls and long johns, and put all this stuff on them to make them sweat so bad. But honestly, in my opinion, when I got shot in the back right here by my hip almost, it felt like getting whipped by a towel when you're all dried off and stuff. Or it felt like, I don't know if you guys heard of this, but hornets made out of paper. Or like getting hit by a rubber band, like close up when they go poo. But that's only as much as it hurts. Extra stuff, of course, you wear spikes. I wear spikes so I can get good grip. Me and my friend played on mulch, turf. It really helps. But if you only use a barrel plug and they don't allow these, ask them if you can borrow one of their barrel covers or buy one. Really, it'll save you a lot of money because renting a gun's like $15 to $30, and plus all the paint and stuff. A box of paint's like $40. So, my first game, I thought I was gonna use a whole box of paint, so I bought a whole box of paint for $40. I only used a bag and a half of paint, so just make sure if you're gonna shoot a lot, because that hopper can hold 200 paintballs. Plus your pods can hold like 200 paintballs too. So just make sure you know what to spend and what not to spend. Uh, Thank you for watching this video. Thank you for letting me take your time. TJP5121 out.